everybody. Welcome to the Phillies House of Videocast. And today I am joined by baseball guy Sean as he's coming back on here. I think we had you on, late December, I'm pretty sure it
Yeah,
was.
that
Like
is
December.
correct. Late December, I was on the
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah, so welcome back, man. It's nice to have you on again. I
Oh,
wanted to have you on like last week, but obviously that whole Poison Oak thing really delayed that. So, glad to have
well,
you on.
look. Your reason for delaying is a lot less embarrassing than mine.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, um, so we have a lot to cover today. Obviously, a lot has changed since we last talked on air. Um, never would have thought that all this stuff would have happened. In December. So, um,
Yeah, it's been a
crazy.
whirlwind. Let's just say that.
It has, but luckily things are finally getting happy again, I guess you could say, and
Starting to. It's
yeah,
starting
starting to.
to.
Yeah, it's been moving at a snail's pace, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So
We're getting to
making
baseball, I'm going to my first game of 2020 next Friday.
Yeah.
I'm going to see the Somerset Patriots. For those of you that are in the New Jersey, New York, maybe even Pennsylvania area, it's not far from Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to catch some live baseball, Somerset Patriots, support them. They're a minor league team. They've got a really good product. They've got a bunch of guys that are from New York, New Jersey that are going to be playing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Vin. You remember Vin Mazzaro?
Vin Mazzaro. No, I have no idea who that is.
I know some of the audience that is older, probably in their 20s, 30s, they'll remember Vin. Vin Mazzaro was an Oakland A's prospect that was coming up with Brett Anderson, Trevor Cahill, Gio Gonzalez. Came up with all those guys. He's from New
Yeah.
Jersey, actually. Yeah, he was I remember my cousin being super familiar with him
Yeah.
because he was all over the papers because he was so good.
Uh-huh.
He was,
Oh.
he went to high school the
I
same
guess he
time
never
that
obviously
myself
came
did.
into fruition because I never heard of him. Obviously, I guess he never lived out the
He had
expectation.
2 good years and then he just flamed out.
Yeah, I never heard of. I heard of Brett Anderson. I've heard of Gonzalez. I've heard of all these other guys. I never heard of this
He's
guy
going to be
before.
playing in this series.
Oh,
He's
that's
going to,
cool.
yeah, it's
Oh,
a
yeah, you'll
12
get to
game
see him.
season, so he's going to be playing.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah. At least you get to see him. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember Mark Leiter Jr. from last year from Toronto? He's going to be
Yeah,
there
yeah.
too.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's cool. Yep. Mark Leiter Jr. Yep, I know him. Yeah, so I'm glad you're going to be able to go see some. Obviously, now we're not going to be able to see Major League Baseball this year in stadiums, so at least you can go and enjoy that.
At least not in the begining. I know that. I know they're
Yeah.
talking about maybe towards the tail end of the season, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, listen. I could go on a whole big rant on why people should be allowed in the stadium, but I'm not going to do it. But let's just kind of talk about our division, division, and since it's going to be a 60-game season, a lot is going to be different, and that's why I do think that. I'm going to ask one question before we do get into the division reviews and everything. But do you think that there should be an asterisk next to the World Series winner this year?
No, I don't think
I don't
so.
Because it's
I mean,
an equal playing
everyone.
field. It's everyone is playing 60 games.
Exactly.
They're not picking and choosing which. You're playing 100 games, you're playing 96 games. Everybody's playing 60 games. So I feel like that's fair. Everyone's at an equal playing field.
To quote Mickey Mantle, a season's a season.
A season is a season. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's everyone's at the same level right now. Everyone's going to play 60 games.
Agreed. No team has. I mean, I will say this: there are some teams that are better equipped for a shortened season than others. But the fact of the matter is, no team is on an unequal playing field, like you said.
Yes.
No team's getting an extra 5 or 10 wins. It's not like you got the Orioles with a head start or anything like that. There's going to be more urgency on the games, sure. And I tell you, a 10-game, if let's say one of our teams goes 2-8 in the first 10 games, we're going to be freaking panicking. Unlike in a normal year where if you go 2-8, you're like, oh, well, it's still early. In this case, it ain't early. We're already
exactly. Yeah, it's a lot less time. It's, as you said, it's a quick sprint. Obviously, baseball season's a marathon, and this is going to be a lot shorter.
You know what I find kind of sad and hilarious at the same time? The fact that the 2021 schedule is already out before the 2020 season starts.
Yeah, I know. I heard they're gonna start playing on April 1st next year. That's what I heard.
Yeah, everyone's gonna start April 1st. Yankees are playing the Blue Jays. I'm gonna be there
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I haven't even taken a look at the Phillies 2020 schedule yet. I haven't even looked at it
I
yet.
don't know who you guys
Yeah,
start against. I know
yeah,
that
I don't even know. I
we're
don't even
gonna
know.
be
I haven't even
playing
looked
each
at it.
other next year, both in New York and in Philly.
Good, good. Well, we're gonna be playing each other this year too. So
Yes.
obviously now we can't go to the games, obviously, but
I know
you know.
it would be. I tell you, it'd be a nice early Christmas present if I find out they're
Yes, it
selling
would.
like
Yeah,
reduced capacity
yeah,
for opening day. Because I'm going. Like if they say you can go to the game on opening, I'm freaking going. I get to see Harper at Yankee Stadium.
yeah.
Sign me
Get
up.
booed. Yeah, he would get booed if their fans were loud.
I won't boo him because I'm a fan of Harper.
I
I wanted Harper on the Yankees.
Yeah, a lot of yeah. I remember that. Like they always used to say he was going to the Yankees. I never really thought he would. Yeah, I remember they used to talk. They said he would play first base. Remember that? Like they
Yeah, he
thought
was
about it.
taking grounders at I think because he wanted to be the first baseman, but then the Yankees found Luke Voigt, and that became a moot point.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So let's kind of just get into the divisions a little bit. Let's first talk about the NL East. My Philadelphia Phillies, in there with the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, of course, the Washington Nationals, and then of course you got the Fish, the Miami Marlins. Um, tough division. Tough
Yeah,
division.
very tough, and I don't even think Miami's like a bad team. Like I look at Miami, and I'm like I don't think you could sleep on anyone because I don't think you can sleep on the Marlins. They have a young rotation. They've got a fairly decent offense. They got a bunch of
Yeah,
top prospects coming up.
they're getting
The
good. They're getting
Yeah,
good.
the only thing I'm not in love with their bullpen,
Yep, yep.
but otherwise I like their
They got a
team.
lot of young talent. Yep, they're gonna be good in a couple of years. That's for sure. I don't really think their windows now, but it's gonna be in a couple of years for sure. And
Oh,
like,
they're playing with house money this year. They're playing
yeah,
with house money.
yep, yeah. I thought when Derek Jeter like went in there and like he like traded away all these guys, I was like what is he doing? But and I'm still kind of like looking back on that and like kind of like being a little bit confused. But I kind of have gotten a new understanding a little bit now during this whole seeing what they've done. You know what I'm saying? Like they've gotten so much better, and they have a good young core, and it's going to be really really good. And they kicked our butt last year, and they really seemed to tee off of our pitching, so they're doing something right.
They've got a really solid team. I just like the only trade that I could go back and really question is the Yelich one.
Mm-hmm.
But like I understand why they traded Stanton. They
Yep.
had to get
They
that
needed to.
contract out
They
of
needed
there.
to. Yeah, they needed to get rid of Stan. I mean, the contract was just too big. I mean, I understood that. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
such a massive deal, and like I know he came off of the season like where he hit like 59 homers or something like
Yeah, he
that,
was
and
never going to do that again. Like anyone who
yeah,
expected him to do that again, I think was out of
yeah. I
their.
look back on that. I remember when they said like when he was going to when he did go to the Yankees, like obviously since you're a Yankee fan, I remember like they're like the Twin Towers of New York with Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Yeah, that was like such a big deal. I remember like going into the 2018 season, I made like such a big deal about Stanton and Judge on the same team, like because they were just such power threats and you could really hit for a lot of power. And obviously Stanton has had some health issues in New York ever since he's got there. Obviously missed a lot of
Some
2019.
health issues.
Yeah, exactly.
There's been a lot of health
Yeah,
issues.
exactly. Yeah. 2018. I mean, 2018 was a pretty normal year for him, like 38 home runs. But 2019 was injury riddled. Injury riddled.
He
That's for
played
sure.
like 10 games or something, I think. It
Yeah,
was hardly
injury
any.
riddled. Yep. Yeah, he was really bad in 2019, and obviously I know
And he got hurt in the playoffs too.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So
And the sucky thing is that Talkman was hurt too, so it's not. I mean, to be fair, Maben probably should have got more playing time in the postseason. I still think Cameron Maben is super underrated. I think Detroit got a great player. I wish the Yankees would have kept him.
yep,
I'm
he's
kind of
like a
salty
utility.
for
He's
that.
bounced around a lot to a lot of different teams. But yeah, I definitely agree that the Marlins definitely did make the right move by getting rid of him, and obviously they traded away JT. I believe that was in the beginning of 2019,
Yeah, that
February.
was when they
Yeah,
got Alfaro and they got Sixto Sanchez. They're
Sixto
actually
Sanchez
pretty
and Will
good.
Stewart as well. Yeah, yeah, that was was a pretty decent trade for Miami. I'd say they got a pretty good return. Alfaro is going to be good, and who knows if the Phillies are going to be able to keep JT. That's another thing we're going to talk about. But so the Marlins have a good young core. Let's move on to the New York Mets. The New York Mets obviously had some issues with their coaching. Obviously with Beltran they hire him, and then it turns out that he's in this whole Astros scandal, like in the thick of it, and then he resigns, and then you bring who do they even have as their manager?
Luis Rojas.
Luis Rojas. Yeah,
I thought they should have brought in.
Like
I thought they should have brought Showalter in. He's like 40. He's young. I know that.
Yeah, I know. Like, here's the thing that drives you crazy, Sean, is like the manager. I was thinking about this today. I said the managerial job used to be so important, but nowadays it's just a seat filler. Like it's just a manager. Like a manager doesn't really mean a manager anymore. It's just
it does, because now you got Brody micromanaging from the office. It's not like before,
right.
And that's why you're seeing less of the Buck Showalters in the sport.
Yeah, because they're just, I hate to say it, but they're like this grumpy old guys. You know what I'm saying? But like I understand, but I think it's good that we have experienced managers like Joe Girardi. Like I think
you guys nailed it with that hire.
In San Francisco. That guy is a boob. That guy is such a boob. Like he's there, and you're not telling me that there's not some special interest going on there. Like he gets hired there because he's friends with the guy or whatever.
That's what it is. It's because Farhan wants to run the team.
Or the GM.
Yeah, because he's an analytics guy, and Farhan Zaidi is such an analytics guy. He was so analytics. Here's a hot take. Everyone loves Farhan Zaidi. I'm not that big on him because I don't think the Dodgers were that well run when he was there.
I thought the Dodgers. No, they didn't.
No.
They choked like every year.
I feel like the Dodgers built themselves a lot like the mid 2000s Yankees, where you had a great offense, you had some good starting pitching, but you had no bullpen, you had decent benches because you had Taylor and Kike Hernandez and Barnes, so you did have that. But aside from Jansen, they never had a bullpen, ever. And Jansen stinks in the must-win. I think Jansen is going to be one of the guys that doesn't do well in a short season.
Yep. You're going to see that. You're going to see, and some of it goes the other way. Some guys will do well in a short season. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But as you're saying, the managerial, the manager is now just a seat filler. So with the whole Mets thing, but. So they lose Zach Wheeler to the Philadelphia Phillies in free agency.
They basically replaced him with Stroman, though.
Yep, Stroman. Yep. That's why but they might lose him next year, I believe. I think he's coming.
They gotta keep him. They gotta keep Stroman if they can. They gotta.
I
don't blame you. I mean, if I was Philly, I'd want Stroman. I'd be like, go get him. You can use some starting pitching.
He kind of seems like I don't mind him, but he just kind of seems like one of those guys in the clubhouse, like. But the height doesn't measure heart. Is that what he says? The height doesn't measure heart. Doesn't measure heart. I mean, which is true, but I think he just oversays it. Like it's just like, all right, brother. Like you said it like 1,000 times. Like we get the point. Like I feel like I understand what he's saying. Like it's true, but like he just overemphasizes his point. But I mean, and you look at DeGrom, and obviously Syndergaard is out this year because of TJ, and so they're. I mean. We'll see what happens there. And I believe DeGrom's like getting in, like, what is he, like 33?
Jake is now 32.
32. Yeah, he's getting up there. And obviously Alonso hopefully he runs into a sophomore slump.
Probably will. I mean, most guys that have big rookie years do. But remember, the Mets have Dom Smith. So it's like, you got that, but here's Smith, just in case.
Lefty bat, yep. Yeah, he's a nice lefty bat.
And now Cespedes is going to be back too.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, well, I mean, first at bat, and then he grounds out, and then he'll be limping off the field, man.
Probably, but he's going to DH. He's got to DH though. They can't use him on the field.
Oh my gosh, man! The Mets just, oh my god! One of my closest friends is a diehard Mets fan. He absolutely loves Cespedes, and he's just I don't know how he has done it over these past couple of years, like just being so patient with the Mets.
I love him when he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, how when's the last time Cespedes played? Like 18?
18, yeah, and he barely played that season. He barely played in 17. The last full season was 16. And he even missed some time in 16 too, but he played like 140, I think, or 130. He did play most of it.
Yeah, I don't understand. And the Mets are just I don't understand the Mets. The Mets strike me as a very very strange team. I just don't. They just are very very weird in my opinion.
And
They
they
have a
have
very
the
very
potential
strange
to be
GM.
great.
Huh?
They have the potential to be great, though.
Yeah, they do. But they're just like with the Cano situation. Like, what's that all about? Like, why would you take on that contract?
Edwin. That's why they
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
Edwin.
Well, I know. But what is it worth? I don't think it's worth it in my opinion. Like, I don't.
I don't. I feel like you can get a closer. And I'm not even
They did
talking
that
about
to
like,
keep him from going to the Phillies. I know that.
oh cause Philly needed a closer and they really wanted Edwin. And I wouldn't have advocated for Edwin for Philly either, because I just believe that you can find a closer. Like, I think you guys have a closer already, but you're not using him as your closer.
Who?
Velasquez. Vince
Last.
Velasquez. I think he could be your closer.
I don't know.
Or at least a placeholder until you guys maybe go bring back Ken Giles. Which I would do.
It's interesting. It's an
Adam,
interesting take,
man.
especially with the shortened season. That's like a kind of like a hot take.
I would use him as like a seventh,
It's kind of like a
inning
thing out from left field. I feel like, but like I feel like it's. I mean, I could, because he could blow up by guys. Like he has but he just doesn't have any stamina, as you said. That's what would make him good in the pen. I just don't know if a closer role would be his type of deal. But honestly, I could see him in the. Obviously, I could see him in the pen. He's already been in the pen before, in his career. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
For this year, this is how I'd use Velasquez. I would put him like seventh, eighth inning, like a fireman.
Yeah.
Use Neris in the ninth, because I think Neris is okay in the ninth. And then next year, you go get Ken Giles. And then you got Velasquez, you've got Neris, you've got Giles. And that's a deadly seventh, eighth, ninth inning.
Hector Neris splitter. How do you think of the Hector Neris splitter?
I like it.
Pretty
I like Neris. I just think he's an eighth inning guy. I think if you're going all in, you
He's
Giles.
A setup man. He's a setup man. No question about it.
And you know what? Since you can get him cheap, I would keep Robertson. I would bring him back because you can get him dirt cheap at this point, and I think he's still got something left. I don't think he's done.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and so we kind of just moving on to the Phillies here. Let's talk about my favorite player, Mr. Bryce Harper. What do you think of him?
I think he's going to go off because he's had stretches in short, 60, 80 game stretches where he just dominates. And Harper has this thing about him where he can be incredibly patient, but he knows when to be aggressive. Like he's the rare type of hitter that can be both patient and aggressive at the same time. And you've got another one in that with McCutchen, but with Harper, he's at that point where he's definitely in his prime. He's 27.
Yep. This is why it sucks that had to happen this year, this whole thing.
But in a way, you're kind of preserving Harper in a sense that he's not going to use that mileage for a full season this year. He's only going to use it for a third of the season. He's going to go off. I think he's going to have a crazy year. If I had to predict right now, I'm going to say Harper's going to be the MVP.
Really?
Yeah, Harper wins the MVP.
I really hope you're right.
That's my call. I think he's going to win it.
I said that in spring training. I think I said that. Obviously, that was way before it was all shut down, the Major League Baseball. But like I said, I think Harper has a chance. He's a definite MVP candidate because he's so motivated. He's one of those guys that could go back and hit 240, and then the next year he'll hit like 350. I mean, it's just he's just one of those guys. He's so up and down, and he's
very streaky. That's his down. That's the downside of Harper. Super streak, but when he's on, he can carry a team.
He's black. He's either black or white. He's either great or he's terrible. He's no gray. There's no gray.
No, even his years, over years he does it. But I think this year with the short season, with the sprint, he's such a good must-win player that you're going to get a big year from him this year.
Yep.
And because he's going to have all this energy saved up from this season, I think next year he's going to go bananas. It'll carry over. I believe it's going to carry over into next season.
Yeah.
I think Harper could win the MVP 2 years in a row.
Oh man, that would be great. Now I want to talk about I love Bryce, man. I mean, Bryce, he's the guy. He's the man. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bryce Harper. And I want to talk about a guy I'm not really a huge fan of, Mr. Reese Hoskins over at first base.
Yeah, I'm not the bit. He disappoints me because I thought he could
Terrible.
do
He is
more.
terrible. He is awful. Like, he's literally so bad. Like, every single time he goes up to the plate, he just stands there and watches. So many people love him. Like, so many people, like, back up this guy. This guy, he's
Because
so
he had a
bad.
really good
He's
rookie
so
season in
bad.
17.
What was that?
Because he had a really good rookie year when the
Yeah,
league
and
had
then
no
everybody
idea who
jumped
he
on the
was.
bandwagon. Everybody jumped. I'm not. I've never really been a Hoskins fan. I'll give my honest opinion. I think he's a nice guy, but he's just something about him I don't like.
He's a
He's
mistake hitter.
so
He's a
inconsistent.
pure mistake hitter. That's his whole thing. He's a mistake hitter.
I know, exactly. And like the whole thing with like putting him in left field, I know that like kind of messed up his head, and then he goes back to first base. He's terrible. Like we all thought that would help him. He was horrible at first base last year. Horrible. It just so like I don't understand. And obviously he was atrocious in left field. Let the ball like smack him in the face and everything. And he tried. It just he just I don't know. Like he's
I'd
so.
try him as a DH.
But the thing, yeah, that's possibility. I think Jay Bruce might be our DH, but we'll talk about that later. But
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Bruce though.
yeah,
I
but
really like the idea of having Bruce as well though. I
yeah,
like Jay Bruce. I'm
yeah,
still a fan. He's got a
yeah,
ton of power.
yeah. And with Hoskins, like last year at the beginning of the season, he like went off. Remember, he was hitting like 300. I remember like in my old videos, like in the beginning of 19, I think I said like this is like when I first started making videos. I think I remember saying that like, oh yeah, he has a chance to be in the All-Star team, and he really did because he was going off. So honestly, Hoskins could do well this year because honestly, he's one of those guys that if he does, he could go on a 60-game stretch where he could hit 300. Honestly, I mean, so it's always possible. But it's just he's so unpredictable. But like he hasn't really shown me much, and so many people love him. I don't understand it. I just never have been a Reese Hoskins fan. I never could get into him. I don't understand it.
I don't think he's gonna make my top because I'm doing like a top 200 list. I'm gonna probably
Yeah.
debut that like probably sometime next season, like when we're previewing next year. I'm gonna do a top 200 once the channel's back. But yeah, I can tell you right now, I don't think Hoskins is gonna make that list. I can't see it.
Nope. And I hope he
he
does. I hope he does well. I mean, he's on my team. Of course, I want him to do well. But like,
I hear you. I just don't think he's like your long-term
I'm not
answer.
crazy about him. Yeah.
I don't think he's your long-term answer at first.
Nope. I concur somewhat. And so many people, like, because I know he's got on base a lot and drew a lot of walks, and of course I mean, honestly, I do look at advanced stats, and I do think on base percentage is very, very important. But so many people, like the nerds of the world, the baseball nerds, as I like to call them, love him. Yeah,
I don't care. I'm gonna get so much heat for this, and I do not care. Mike
Said it.
Ford is a better player.
Who?
Mike Ford is better than Reese Hoskins.
I hope I don't get hate for this. Who is Mike? I have no clue who Mike.
He's the lefty first baseman that the Yankees brought up last year. He came up because we had a million injuries. Kind of spent a lot of the year in the minors, but he really got a chance in August, and he just went off. Ford last year hit 260, had a 350 on base, 560 slugging, 900 OPS. The only reason he's not an everyday player on the Yankees is because they have Voit. But he's an everyday guy.
Wow.
And
that's a really, really like big take for you to say. I mean,
and the reason it's a big take is because he was never a big time prospect.
Well. Yeah, I mean,
he was not a big prospect, but when I saw him in the minors in Scranton, I really liked what I saw. I liked him. I was like, this guy is really good, and everyone's sleeping on him.
Yep, that happens a lot. And going back to Hoskins, like I want him to do well. Like he's on my team. I hope he does well. And he honestly could hit 300 this year because, as I said, he's one of the guys that could go on a 60-game stretch and hit 300. It's very, very possible. So moving on to let's just kind of like wrap this up with the Phillies. Obviously, we talked about JT. I love JT, but I'm getting tired of hearing about this whole extension thing. I'm just getting so tired. Like enough with the talk and get it done. I'm so tired of hearing about.
Yeah, you guys got to get it done too. You don't
it.
have a ton of catching in the minors.
No, the catching market is horrible. I talked about that a couple weeks ago. Horrible. And
no, there's not a lot of great catchers out there.
Terrible. And so hopefully we can keep him. Obviously, we got Kutch coming back, and hopefully Kingery can develop a little bit more and improve. Well,
Hope
obviously,
so, man. I love Scotty. He's one of my favorite
yeah,
players.
yeah, I like, and hopefully Hazley. I hope he can take a big step this year. So that, I mean, obviously now let's move on to rotation. Zach, we were talking about it before we started recording. We said that Zach Wheeler cannot opt out. That would be the worst thing for the Phillies.
It would be terrible.
Go in?
You'd
You
be
can
in
go into it.
big trouble.
Yep. Yep.
Zach Wheeler, especially in like a 12-game stretch, can be dominant.
Yep.
Like he
Absolutely.
could have been a Cy Young. He could be a Cy Young candidate in a 12-game season. Yeah, I mean, remember he had an amazing 12-game stretch with the Mets in 2018 where he was essentially just
that was a good year for him. 18
dominant.
Was a really good year for him.
In that, I believe there was a stretch in 2018, and remember DeGrom had a year to remember in 2018, but there was a stretch.
So
I mean,
it was overlooked. That's why. Yeah, because
there was like I think August and September, if I'm not mistaken, his numbers, Wheeler's numbers, were actually better than DeGrom's down the stretch.
Wow. I did not know that. Thank you so much for pointing that out. That is a really, really good observation. Because I had no idea about that. I know he really did well in 18, but I didn't know that Zach did. Wow.
Yeah,
So
I mean, he just had a really rough first half.
That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so if I know his wife is pregnant, if we lose him, we're in big trouble. And then we got Aaron Nola. We got Aaron Nola, and hopefully he could have more of a 2018 Aaron Nola type season. Obviously, we got guys like Eflin in there, and there's a few question marks like Arrieta. Oh my gosh, Pavetta in there, of course. Or is it going to be Vinny V? So we got some questions, some unanswered questions about our rotation. But Arrieta, like everybody says, like, oh yeah, we might see a different Arrieta last year. Do you not realize that they said that last year too, and he was terrible? So who knows? I don't even know.
I think Arrieta's past his prime. I think that's what it is. You just got him too late. You got him 2 years too late.
Yep. He's washed up. I'm gonna say it. He's just washed. He's totally washed. I really would love to see an Aaron Nola just dominant season this year. I really do. If we could get Arrieta to have a decent season, if we can get Eflin to do better. If we could have Nola, as I said, to perform at a high level, honestly, this could be if we could have Bryce to perform at his level, this would be a year to remember, in my opinion.
Not to mention, you guys got Didi Gregorius, too.
Yeah.
You added Didi. And if he's healthy, oof, forget it. You got a great shortstop there.
Yeah, if we can get like a 2017.
If you get 2017 Didi or even 2018 Didi, you guys are in good shape. I'm still a big Didi fan. I'm still a believer, but the injury really did him in.
You told me he might go back to. Remember, you told me you might go back. You want him to go back to the Yankees.
I'd take him back in 21. Absolutely, I would take him back.
Yeah, it's always possible. So kind of moving on from the Phils, let's go over to the division rival Nats, the defending world champs.
Players on MLB The Show.
Lose Anthony Rendon to free agency, goes off to the LA Angels, and they brought in Eric Thames, Ryan Zimmerman, and Joe Ross opt out. So that's not really.
Luckily, they brought in Kendrick. Nah, because Joe Ross was like the warm body in the rotation that's just there to eat up innings. I mean, you could just
Ryan Zimmerman's like
bring in anyone
leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, but you could have Kendrick play the same role that Zimmerman would have played.
Yeah,
you got Kendrick
it's really
now.
Not that big of a loss for the Nats. Like but I heard that Juan Soto was exposed to the thing, so I guess now he's in isolation.
Oh yeah, because of the whole Dominican Republic flight mess.
Yeah.
Nice going, Manfred. Nice job. Wow, he's definitely a great commissioner. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you not test these guys before you fly them out? You're flying them out for freaking another country, and you're not gonna moron.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
He's a moron.
Sean Doolittle said this, and he said, think about this. So let's say they bring you in on a Sunday, and they say, all right, we're going to test you, and then we're going to find out the results in a week. And then meanwhile, during that rest of that week, you're still interacting with everybody. And
exactly.
And then they come back next week and say, well, oh yeah, you tested positive. Like it's such a flawed system. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I know they're
any sense.
I'm surprised MLB doesn't have this, but they're actually coming out with like a same day testing, which would be
Oh yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Because that would be like the ultimate game changer in the whole situation. I'm not gonna go on long about it, but like
yeah,
if you have
absolutely.
a thing where you could just take a test and you get the results the same day, the doctor could just give you medication in the office,
Yeah,
and that would really change the whole landscape of it because you
absolutely.
wouldn't. Yeah, because they're already coming out with they're already gonna come out with medications real soon
Right.
for it. So like if you have that where like you don't need to put people in isolation anymore, you just tell them stay home for a couple days, take this medication, changes the whole landscape of everything.
Right. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, that's the big issue is waiting a freaking week for a test result, when you really need the result now. You need it
Right.
right,
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
go to the doctor, if you have like the flu, you get the same day. So
Right.
that's why it's
Yeah.
not that big a deal. It's like you get the test result, that day, oh, you got the flu. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they gotta definitely, but it is coming out soon. They already are testing it in like certain like clinics, certain urgent
Uh-huh.
care places are actually getting same day testing. It's just I guess they're gonna, they gotta like, manufacture it so that everybody has it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So.
But yeah, MLB should get their hands on. They'll one thing's for sure. They'll definitely have that like by next season, where
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
gets tested like
I
the same
think
day.
next. I think next year is going to be normal. Is my opinion.
Same
I don't.
here, because
Yeah. I don't
because
think it's.
there's going to be medications for it. Possibly like you'll see some people getting a vaccine, but you'll definitely have like medicine for it at the very least.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. This can't keep going on like it is. Like people are just. Yeah. I mean, it
Nah,
just.
they'll
Yeah.
they'll
They need to
find
figure
better
something
ways
out.
to figure it out. Like
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
medicine there'll be medicine.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
Absolutely.
There'll be medication for it. It'll be
Yeah.
a thing where it won't be as dangerous because you go to the doctor's office and they'll you'll get tested, you get the same day, and they'll say here take this. That's what it'll be
Right.
next year probably
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
spending billions of dollars on like medicines.
Right. Absolutely. So the Nats, I honestly, I think are just going to do mediocre. I understand they still have a good rotation, but just not really. I mean, I don't know.
I
they just coming
really
off the World
like
Series.
the pickup of Thames. I love the
I
pickup
do.
of
I do too.
Kendrick. I think they're going to be better than mediocre. I think they'll be really good. They got
Yeah.
Starlin Castro, who had an awesome second half. You still got Soto. You still got Robles. You still got Eaton. Uh, DH is not an issue because you have Kendrick.
Yeah.
You have Asdrubal
I
Cabrera.
think they're
Hurts
going
is
to be a good team. I mean, I just don't think they're going to be as good as last year. I'm just going to say that. That's the point I'm trying to.
nah, but they'll make the playoffs again.
Really? You think
Yep.
so?
I,
I
you
mean,
know,
possible. They have a chance. They have a good chance.
I think
But
they'll make it, and I think the Mets could make it if they can actually live up to their potential. I don't think the Braves are going to make it.
really, really,
Yeah, I don't think the Braves are going to make the
really.
playoffs. No, I don't. You
Wow.
lost Donaldson. You lost Markakis because he opted out. Austin Riley might sophomore slump. He already was sophomore slumping at the end of last season. Let's see. Swanson still hasn't broken out. Albies is good. Acuna's great. Um, Freeman, I know, got sick, so hopefully you get Freeman back. You should get Freeman back, I think. Catching, they have what? Darno and Flowers, pretty good.
Hmm.
Pitching, you got Soroka, but you don't really have that bona fide ace. You do have a good bullpen. I really like the bullpen. I don't know. I just don't think they're better than the Nationals. I don't even know if they're better than the Mets. I think they're
Wow.
kind of on the same level as Philadelphia. Uh, I don't know. I could see them missing it. If I'll say this, if for Philly, if Wheeler doesn't play, you're missing the playoffs for sure.
I agree. I agree.
You're not making the playoffs without Wheeler. If you have Wheeler, you have a chance. I think it's between. See, I think the Nationals are going to win their division, and I think the Mets are going to be a wild card, believe it or not.
Hmm.
But I think that the second wild card is going to be between either the Cardinals, Cubs, Phillies, Braves, or Diamondbacks.
Right. Yep. Yep.
I think it's a five-way race between those teams. Brewers are
Yep.
not making the playoffs. They don't have enough pitching.
Yep. That's been a problem for them for a little while though. The pitching. Yeah. So let's just kind of just move on. So we kind of talked about the Braves. So we want to move on to the NL Central a little bit. We'll
Let's
talk
do
about
it. Yeah, this is a weak division. This is a
very
fairly
weak.
weak division.
Yeah, this division does not excite me talking about it. So let's talk about Chicago Cubs, David Ross comes in. New manager.
Good hire. Good hire. They're very familiar with Ross. He's super well respected by that locker room.
Yeah.
They loved him when he was a player there. Like that was, if you remember when he left the in his last game, when he left the game, he got a huge standing ovation as if he was like this franchise player, and he was just a backup catcher for a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how well liked he is. Yeah. Like he's so well liked by that team.
Yeah.
He was
in the booth for a while too. Yeah. He was in the booth for a little while, and so I like it. I think he'd be, it's going to be interesting. He's going to be one of those guys that he doesn't have any managerial experience, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So, I mean, they still have Chris Bryant. They still have a good group of players. It's just who knows what direction they're going to go in, because I know
they haven't made that. They have not gotten better, and that's one of the problems. Is that, like, I noticed that, and this is why the Astros cheating still bothers me, is that I believe if the Astros never cheated, the Yankees would have at least won one championship between the last 3 years. I definitely will say the Yankees got robbed. Like, I think 17 they would have definitely won. Wow. I think they would have beat the Dodgers. 18, no. Obviously, they were not good enough in 18. But 19, I think they may have beaten the Nationals. They would have had a better chance than the Dodgers. But I just look at it as like...
the Astros, you mean?
Yeah, like...
You said the
I think they would have fared better than Houston against Washington. Yeah. May have been enough to win. But the thing about the Yankees is that they have gotten better every year. They've found a way to get better. And that's what a dynasty does, is that you win a championship, but you don't just stop there. You continue to get better. Yeah, the Cubs have not done that.
Nope.
They've gotten worse, actually. Even the Phillies, like 09, they got better. After the 08 championship, they did get better in 09. But they ran into a great Yankee team. 2010, I don't know how they lost to the Giants in the LCS. They should have beaten them. They were the better team.
Yeah.
And if you would have passed them, you would have beat Texas too. I don't know how the Yankees lost to Texas. We should have had a rematch, Yankees-Phillies.
Yeah.
11, you got better, and you lost to freaking St. Louis. You should have won. Every year, you guys got better. Yeah. You crashed in 2012 because Howard got hurt, Utley got old fast.
Yeah, that was the.
And Halladay blew out his arm. Otherwise, you guys getting better every year.
Yep. Yeah, that was like the end of a good era. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys were a dynasty that never was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and going back to the NL Central, we got like the Pirates in there are not going to do anything. We got the Cardinals who knows? I mean, I know they still have Paul Goldschmidt, but I
still like their team somewhat. I think Paul DeYoung is criminally overrated.
Yeah.
If Harrison Bader can hit, he's awesome. Goldie's kind of declining, but he's still pretty good. You got Jack Flaherty in that rotation. You got Miles Michaelis. You still got Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still got a good team, but it's just I don't know. They leave something to be desired.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. But yeah, the NL Central was one of those divisions that just doesn't excite me at all.
No.
It just does not excite me, to say the least. And as you said, the Brewers. I mean, just not really. I don't think they have enough pitching.
I don't even think they have enough hitting. They just have Yelich.
Yep, exactly. And if you look at the Cincinnati Reds, made a lot of moves this offseason. A lot of moves. Castellanos, Moustakas. They still have Trevor Bauer and
mid-season. Yeah, they got Bauer.
Yeah, they got Bauer bad mid-season last year.
They signed Sonny Gray to an extension, which was a good move.
I think they're gonna be a pretty decent team, I'd say.
They could win the Central. They could win maybe even win a wild card if they can kind of benefit from the weak schedule that they're gonna have, because they're gonna have what they got to play. They get to play the Pirates. They get to play the Brewers. Then they get the Central. They get some games against the Detroit Tigers and the Royals. Right. So they're I could see a wild card coming from the Central. I could see maybe, but I just think the division is so weak that it's going to be whoever wins the division, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. And moving on to the NL West, we got the Los Angeles Dodgers. What do you think of them?
I really like them. They got. I
Yeah,
mean,
they're good.
not
They're
having
really good.
Price is gonna stink, but you still got Kershaw, you still got
Right.
Bueller, you still got Urias, you've got Alex Wood back.
Mookie
I mean,
Betts.
yeah, now you added Mookie
You
Betts
still got
to an
Bellinger. You
already
still
great
got
lineup.
Jock out there, and um, they have a lot of good players. Good players.
It's a great team. They could.
Yeah.
I mean, in reality, they should win the pennant. They probably are the most talented team in the NL.
Yeah, I just can't stand it because I just can't stand the West Coast teams. I can't stand like California. I can't stand LA. So I really do not want to see the Dodgers win. I just do not like California. But
I don't like
and
what
then,
they do to people's bank account.
yeah. And then you got the Giants. Gabe Kapler leading that Giants team.
They're an
Terrible.
interesting team.
Buster
They're
Posey opted
interesting.
out.
Yeah, and you know what? It gives them a chance to give Joey Bart a chance at catcher. They
Mm-hmm.
can really get a good look at Joey Bart this year. So that might not be necessarily a terrible loss because they can give Joey Bart a look at catcher.
Right.
Posey needs to get out of the catching position. I think that's the only way you're going to preserve his bat. Now, if I was the Giants, I would not use the full service here for Bart. I would go with the backup for the first like 10, 15 games and call up Bart midway through.
Yeah.
So I would
That's
use
smart.
who's their backup now? Pardon me for this.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
have no
Giants
idea.
fans. I don't even know who your
Yeah, I
backup
mean
is.
the
I gotta
Giants are like the
Google it.
most like I have no idea. Like I have hardly anybody
I
on this
think
team.
it's if I'm not mistaken, I think his name is on the. He used to be on the Marlins. I know their backup used to be a Marlin, and I can't remember his
Yeah, I
name.
don't know.
Man,
Trying to think.
I know
Trying to
who it
think.
is too,
I don't
because he used
know.
to be a Marlin. Um,
Yeah,
oh man, he's a minor league invite. I know you got a
yeah.
Ramos Garcia as well on the
Yeah, I'm
40
trying to think
man.
about who that could be. I'm struggling
He
trying to
used
figure
to
it
be a
out.
Marlin. I know that. That's why I'm
Yeah,
like, oh man, his name is slipping.
yeah. It doesn't
Someone in the
matter.
comment section, if you know
Yeah,
if you know the name, leave a
yeah,
comment.
yeah. Please do that, someone. Um, let's talk about the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Oh, I
They,
like them. I
yep,
really like
I
I
do too.
really like the Diamondbacks.
Yep.
I saw them play a lot last season because I went down there a few times. Uh, I really liked their team last year. They're more or less going forward with the same roster. The only difference is you're putting Starling Marte instead of Gerard Dyson, which is an upgrade. Christian Walker is probably going to come back to earth, but Kevin Crone is ready, and Kevin Crone's an upgrade anyway.
Yep.
You've got Tim
Starling
LaCastro.
Marte.
You've
Yeah.
got Nick Ahmed. You've got Ketel Marte. You've got Eduardo Escobar. You've now got Cole Calhoun instead of Adam Jones.
Yeah.
You've got Carson Kelly now paired up with Stephen Vogt. You've
Yeah.
got a full year of Zach Gallen. You've got Mad Bum now. The bullpen I
Yeah.
still don't love, but everything else I really like about. Like if this team had a workable bullpen, they could challenge the Dodgers for the division easily.
Right. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yes. They've made a lot of good additions and got Colorado. Not very good. You got Nolan
top
Arenado
heavy
there.
team. Top heavy team. They got Arenado, Story, Blackman, maybe a
Desmond
bounce back.
opted out. Desmond opts out.
I'm sure Rocky fans don't care. Whatever. Who cares? I mean,
Yeah.
Desmond's not really that good.
Yeah. Exactly.
Desmond would probably be better off on another team. I still think he's got value, but he's got to go to another team.
Yeah. And then you
He could be
got.
like LeMahieu. He could be like LeMahieu where he's got to get out of there.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you got the San Diego Padres.
I
Manny
like the
Machado,
Padres.
Eric Hosmer.
Chris Paddock.
Yeah, Fernando Tatis Jr.
I like that team. I really like that team, actually.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah,
potential.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they got the Eric Hosmer contract though is really, really bad. I just have to say that.
It just made no sense because you already had Will Myers.
Yeah, I just felt like they
You know,
did it just because like they want like this to. I don't know. I don't know. That didn't make any sense. He didn't really.
it did. Hey, you're trying to justify it, and you're like, wait a minute, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
exactly.
It's a stupid move.
Yeah, now they're stuck with him.
Yeah,
Another
they're stuck.
6 years. I don't get it.
I mean, The only way you're going to trade him is if you take a bad contract or you or you eat half the contract.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Would have been
Yeah.
a good fit for the Yankees if, let's say, Voit had not emerged. Would have been a great fit for the
He
Yankees.
almost went back to KC. Remember, like they almost re-signed him.
You know what? I feel like if you could somehow swing a contract for contract swap, he still fits the Royals.
Yeah,
He
I
still
don't think they'd do
fits.
that.
I don't think they would, but he still fits because I'm not big on O'Hearn at all.
Yeah.
The thing is, I wouldn't trade Salvador Perez for him because he's a great catcher. Why would you?
Yeah.
And the only person that I could think of trading for him would be Ian Kennedy. But the problem is that Ian Kennedy's contract is over after this season. So why would you do that if you were San Diego? Or excuse me, if you were Kansas City? You're going to be done with Kennedy's contract after this year anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's Eric Hosmer, and he's got more value to the Royals than any other team in this sport. But how many years does Hosmer have left? He's got
6 more years left on his deal.
6. So what? Yeah, like that's their only bad contract is Kennedy, and Kennedy's gone after this year. So Perez is not a bad contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make sense if they had a contract that they could swap. The only way I could see it, well, there is one way, is if, let's say, San Diego attaches a big-time prospect, if they're
like
that
Francisco
desperate.
Mejia. Remember Francisco Mejia?
And you know what? It works. That actually would make some sense because I think Mejia needs to get out of catcher. You could put him at third base. You don't really have a third baseman. I mean, you have Hunter Dozier, but you can move Hunter Dozier to like the outfield or DH. You could make that work. If you could say, okay, you take Hosmer's contract, but you'll also get Francisco Mejia. If I'm Kansas City, I'd do that. You don't have a first baseman. You can move Mejia to like third base or the outfield. That actually makes a lot of sense. You don't have a lot of contracts. That makes a lot. I like that because you don't have a first on that team. You would. I would probably move. You know what? No, I'd leave everything as is. I'd put Soler in right. Live with the lousy defense for now. Put Mejia or Dozier at DH. And at some point, you put Dozier in a corner outfield. You put Mejia at third. Soler becomes your long-term DH. That's workable. I can work with that. Center field. Who do they have now in center? I think they're going with Bubba Starling and Brett Phillips.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But
again,
I would actually at some
point.
Know
much about.
But at some point, I would even consider bringing back Dyson. Dyson fit that team perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You just got to get some pitching in there, man. If you can get some pitching in there, the Royals aren't that terrible.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I agree 100%. Yeah. So next video, we plan on covering more of the AL.
Next week, we will visit the American League.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to cover the Yankees.
Exactly. Yeah, your Yankees. Yeah, I'm trying to think about what day we'll figure that out, I'm sure.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out
right now,
camera.
The schedule's pretty open, except for Friday, because I got the Patriots game. I'm down. I'm excited for that one.
Absolutely. I'm ready and looking forward to it. So we want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Please smash the like in this video. Please subscribe.
Absolutely. Hit that sub button.
Exactly. And please comment about that. What were we looking at before? The backup catcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
And I know it's going to kill me because this guy was a Marlin, and I know he's been in the league for a while. Giants, actually, not Diamondbacks.
Yeah. Oh, Giants. Giants. Yeah, not the Diamondbacks. Giants. Yeah, you're right.
If I look up their non-roster invites, I'll get the name really easily. It is, let's see, Rob Brantley. There we go. Rob Brantley.
Yeah, I've heard that name. Yep.
Yeah, he was with the Marlins. Then he went to the White Sox. He was a Philly last year. He had one at bat.
I remember him. Yeah, that's why I remember that name. Yep.
Yep, that's it. That's your starting. I mean, that is right now your starting catcher is Brantley, and that you're basically going to go with Brantley or the kid that you're just bringing up from the minors. You're probably going to go with the kid. You're probably going to go with what's his damn name? See, I'm like kind of like lost with the Giants catch because aside from Hart and Posey, Aramis Garcia. Yeah, you're going to go with him. for 10 games, and then you're going with Joey Bart. Like,
Right.
the obvious call is you don't want to waste the year of service time when you're still rebuilding and it's a shortened season. You go with Garcia. He plays a little bit, and then you go Joey Bart, and you get to see what you have with him, and you really got nothing to
Right.
lose because you're not going and you're not trying to win now anyway.
Right. Exactly.
It's not your year yet.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, so I really enjoyed talking baseball with you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. And obviously, it
Thanks for
won't be
having me.
like another like 6 month like
No,
wait like last time.
it'll
Next
be
week.
more like 6 days.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be back on again next week to talk about the American League. So thank you all so much for watching this video. As I said, please smash the like on this video. Please subscribe if not yet. Please comment on this video and share this video. And I will see you next time. I was joined by baseball guy Sean.
Peace.